Parents message me about autism and ADHD. So many. I've had so many concerned parents message me specifically on Instagram saying, please, Steve, I've had a child diagnosed with autism. They're trying to understand it. They're trying to get good information on it. You've used the word autism and ADHD as we've been speaking about metabolism. What is the link in your view?
Everything. The link is everything.
Really?
The mitochondrial theory of autism actually was first proposed in 1985. And since then, we have had an explosion of research linking mitochondria and mitochondrial dysfunction to autism specifically. As I've mentioned to you, the rates of autism have gone through the roof. In the United States, they've quadrupled in the last 20 years. And people think, well, what does that have to do with diet? Those kids haven't eaten a diet yet. Well, their parents have. And let me share a couple of statistics. So people are scratching their heads. Where's all this autism coming from? I thought autism was genetic. And if autism is genetic, it shouldn't quadruple in 20 years. Quadrupling in 20 years means something in the environment is causing it. And to provide just one piece of evidence to support what I'm saying, if a woman has obesity, she has double the risk of having an autistic child. If a woman has diabetes, she has double the risk of having an autistic child. If a woman has both obesity and diabetes, she has quadruple the risk of having an autistic child. If a man is obese, he has double the risk of having an autistic child. So people are scratching their heads trying to figure out, where is all this autism coming from? Well, look around in the population. Are the rates of obesity going up? Are the rates of diabetes going up? The answer is unequivocally yes. And that is a reflection. It's not about fat shaming. I don't want anybody to hear that and wag their finger at fat people and say, oh, you're causing autism because you're overeating. It's not that simple. That's not the way it goes. People with obesity have a metabolic or mitochondrial problem. That is why they have obesity. Now, that might be caused by the foods they're eating, but they don't know any better usually. They think it's just about calories. And what I'm here to say is, no, there's more to food than just calories. It might be those chemicals in the food that you're eating or something else, or it might be chemicals in our environment. It might be pesticides or microplastics, the forever chemicals that are becoming more and more ubiquitous. All of these things disrupt metabolism and mitochondrial function. And so when I talk about obesity and diabetes increasing risk for autism, it's not about fat shaming. It's about understanding. It's about understanding that the parents have a metabolic problem already. That means that they have a problem in their cells with their mitochondria, and they then pass those on to their children. And in some cases, it may not show itself immediately as obesity or diabetes. It might show itself as a brain condition because lots of other things can play a role. And if an obese woman, for instance, also has an infection during pregnancy, that's going to increase her risk for having an autistic child even more. So she couldn't help whether she got an infection or not. Tragically, we just had an epidemic called COVID. And the early signs are telling us that, in fact, neurodevelopmental disorders are going to increase as a result of that. We already had a quadrupling of the rates of autism. We are likely to see even worse statistics going forward. The hope is that if we understand that science we can do something about it now, today. If you understand, if you see signs of autism in your child, if you see signs of metabolic or mental health conditions in your children, if we intervene early enough, we can probably do something about it.
How?
Number one, by recognizing the problem. And then two, for some people, it could be as simple as dietary interventions or just hyper focusing on good, clean living. So that means prioritizing sleep, little less screen time, little more human contact, purpose in life, family connection.
No alcohol.
No alcohol, no marijuana, no CBD. Try to avoid pills. Try to avoid pills for everything that ails you. If your child's sleeping, please try methods other than pills, including melatonin and over-the-counter pills. Don't just whip out a pill for your child not being able to sleep. At least try some other interventions, like let's get you off the screen 2 hours before bed. Let's develop a routine in our household that we're all going to wind down. We're all going to turn off the electronics. Maybe I'm going to read you a bedtime story, or we're going to play a game, or we're going to do something really boring that everybody's going to say, this is so boring, I'm getting sleepy. And I'm going to say, great. It's so boring that you're getting sleepy. That means you're going to go to sleep because it's bedtime.
I want to talk to you about our sponsor, LinkedIn.